This is a private residence, man.
What's up, dudes? This is the Lockpicking Lebowski, and up next we're going to be reviewing the GE Security Supra Key Safe. It's Access Point Portable Key Safe Original Dial Portable Combination Key Box. I can only assume that this is one of the later versions because of the back of the door of the combination door there is plastic and has plastic tabs, and I think earlier versions had screws, and it was sort of a metal back door that you unscrewed. Anyhow, comes in a box like that, and comes with this is a wallet guide. If you do not have directions, but you have this exact model, then I'm going to hold this up pretty close. Hopefully it will focus, and then you can do a screen capture, and you can either print them out yourself or whatever you want to do. So there's those. And then there's those. And for our Spanish-speaking friends, and then on down the line. And that should do it. Let's see what's on the back here. Here's the rest of it. Here's the rest of it in English. Okay. And then the rest of it in Spanish. And hopefully that will be enough to allow you to print those out if you wish. Alright, so let's get to it. Actually, a lot nicer than I had thought it was going to be. I've never had one of these before, but it comes with an extremely thick rubber housing. This isn't actually the metal box. It's actually a thick a rubber cover. And then, of course, it has a rubber shackle covering. This is really meant to go on doorknobs. The shackle will open up really, really tall. It's really got a wide berth. Anyhow, let's get started with how to open it. From the factory, at least this one, and from what I understand, some others, haven't heard otherwise, but it's SPI. And my understanding is because these are, I think they're assembled in South Padre Island. So they set it to SPI. So we're just going to turn the dial clockwise several times to sort of zero it out. I'm going to stop on A just as a good stopping point. Catch your breath. Alright, so we're going to turn clockwise, continuing to turn until we hit S. And make S stop here at this top mark. So S is our first letter. Now we're going to go counterclockwise, and we're going to stop on P the second time. So here's P already, so passing it once. Now we're going to stop on P the second time. And now we're going to go clockwise again, and we're going to stop on I the first time. So going clockwise again, I'm going to stop on I, then we're going to flick the button downward, and out pops the door. We'll go ahead and show you this shackle length. You lift up on this metal piece here toward you, and then pull out the shackle like that. So it's really meant to be hung on a doorknob. Once you have the door on and in place, the shackle cannot be pushed in place. It will not engage. You must have the door open or slightly, ajar for this to engage. And it's because it has this little metal piece here, this little tab that sticks up, and I guess it presses against this door. So anyhow, we're going to close that up. I'm going to go ahead and remove this cover to show you just how incredibly thick it is. It's really thick on, especially the sides are actually, feel like they're thicker than the back, and really, really incredibly durable. But it's just this little lip at the top here that's keeping that in place. It sort of snaps on, so you just lift this off, and then it pops off like so. So we're going to set him back down there and get to it. It comes with a little key holder on the back here. I know it says it can hold 3 keys. I've actually fit 11 in here. I fit a total of 11 keys in here, and that was 8, I'll just call them standard size keys, plus 3. It wasn't actually this key, it was a little bit smaller than that. It was for master lock, but I fit 3 of the others in at once. So 11 keys at once. I think that's really outstanding. Alright, so our tab is down, wheels locked in place on that last letter. Alright, we're going to flip this little key holder up, and then you take 2 fingers and your thumb, sort of press down on those 2 tabs at the top, and then the door will slide out from that little slot there. We're going to set them in the box, and then we're going to hold it in our hand this way. We're going to flip that back up so our switch is open, and just kind of turn the dial a little bit and wiggle and lift and wiggle and lift. Kind of shake the pieces out. So when it's all said and done, you've got a total of 5 pieces in your hand. You've got 1 wheel, spacer, 2nd wheel, 2nd spacer, and 3rd wheel. So let's take a look at the inside. There's this metal piece here. Instead of having a sort of a ball bearing, sort of a spring mechanism to hold the tab in place, it's this piece of metal here. Flips back and forth. The tension of that gives it some snap and holds it in place. So we're going to keep it open so we can get our wheels in. As you're facing the dial, so we're going to change the combination. As you're facing the dial, turn it clockwise a bunch of times. We're going to zero it out. We're going to leave it on A and see what it looks like on the other side. Excellent. It's still not zeroed out though. I can still see deep down inside here that it's not zeroed out. You can see we've got tabs out of place. All of these should be in line with this main triangle guy here. So if you want, you can kind of stick a finger down in here and turn clockwise from the other side. Just kind of hold in place. It might help to do that. And keep turning until they're all in a row. Okay. Let's go back out there. So now you can see all 3 of those are in a row. Everything's set. There's a notch here. All those are set. Everything's all together. So once again, we're doing it clockwise on the opposite side there as you face the dial. So we're going to leave that triangle pointing upward. Firstly, I avoid using combinations that spell something, because it just makes it too obvious. In some cases, people might guess it. So make sure your combination doesn't spell something. Maybe you want to use your, let's see, your mother's maiden name is a common security question on the internet for filling out forms and such. So you might try your mother's initials, but with her maiden name or something like that. But at any rate, I also don't use combination with letters that are next to each other, because the gate is so wide on these. That's a wide gate. The gate actually extends it's 3 letters wide. So if you have a combination like ABA, that's no different from having a combination that's AAA. It's going to do the same thing. So you might try and use a combination where the letters are pretty well spaced apart. I know previously we said don't make it spell something. For simplicity's sake, we're going to use the word fox this time. I'm doing that for simplicity and also because they're at the far ends of the dial. You've got F clear up here at about 1:30 on the dial, maybe 2 o'clock. You've got O over here, maybe at around 10 o'clock or so. Then you got X down here close to 6 o'clock. F, O, and X. So the very first letter is the first wheel that goes in. You want to choose F for the first one, as in fox. And you want it to be at the top, hooked right on that little guy right there. So I kind of put a thumb over that. He'll slide all the way to the bottom. So he's in place. And he won't move. They're under F. Next step is you want to put in your metal spacer. And it only goes in one direction. It's got a tab there on the lower left-hand side that'll decide the direction. So the next dial is going to be O. Again, you want that to be at the very top. So we're going to set him right there. So F and O is done. Next spacer, metal spacer. And now the third wheel. Remember X, as in F-O-X. We're going to place him at the top again. Right there on that little triangle tab. Press the thumb on it and hold. And just kind of balance him in. If you kind of press down on that, it's springy because those spacers are slightly bent. Once that's done, I'm going to zoom back out here. Once that's done, you want to carefully take your door, slide it in the bottom tab, or opening there, slide the tab in the bottom slot, and then just press in place, and these two tabs will lock into place, and you can drop your key holder. So you want to test this. Don't put the door on and turn the wheel, or you don't want to brick your unit. Test it, and I tested 3 times just to be sure. So we're going to zero it out by dialing clockwise many times. Stop on A just as a good stopping point. So remember, first letter is F as in fox. So we're going to go to the right, stopping on F. Now we're going to go to the left, counterclockwise, but we're going to pass O once and leave it on O the second time. So counterclockwise, passing O, and stopping on O the second time. So there's O. Now we're going to go clockwise again, but we're going to stop on X the first time. So there's X, and then press down the tab, and she's open. You can see what that looks like back here when this happens. Basically, there's 3 metal tabs that drop down inside the gate. Put that wheel back. Okay, so we've tested it once. I'm going to zero it back out. I'm going to test it again, leaving it on A. Let's zoom back out there. So we're going to go clockwise, stopping on F. Counterclockwise, passing O once, but stopping on O the second time. Then we're going to go clockwise again, stopping on X the first time, and we're open. Try it one more time. I'm going to zero it out. Like I say, I stop on A, just a good stopping point. So again, we're going to go to the right, clockwise, stopping on F. We're going to go counterclockwise, passing O once, and then stopping on O the second time. Then we're going to go clockwise again, stopping on X the first time, and it's open. So again, with the key holder downward, we're now ready to drop them in the box and lock them up. So it's good and locked up. So let's try it again and see if we bricked it. We're going to zero it out. There's A, but we're going to stop on F. Counterclockwise, pass the O once, stopping on O the second time. Then clockwise again, but stopping on X the first time. And then it's open. I highly recommend this box. It's really beefy. I do not know a way to bypass it. I know that if you just keep turning the dial and use tension on this and feel, it'll sort of click downward every two until you get to a certain point where it goes that far, but you get a lot of play in it. And look where the play is. It goes just past the W and just past the Y, and look what's right in the middle, our last letter X. That's been consistent every different combination I've used. So I'm not really sure how they could fix a flaw like that. I wouldn't only know if I'd call it a flaw. It's just due to the way the mechanism works and gate size, and it's just the mechanics. But every single time I've been able to determine the last letter of the combination. I mean, that's without fail, and it's quite easy to do. But how long would it take a person, realistically, how long would it take them to figure out the combination, the other two letters? It would just take forever. And if your problem is someone fiddling at your front gate, for more than 3 minutes, then that type of security isn't your problem. That's all I've got for you today. Big Lebowski's paging me, so I gotta go, and I'll see you all next time. I know my new